You're in ANCAP-SU, and now we're going to discuss Trump's law that allows you to invest part of your retirement in bitcoins. Look at this interesting thing, okay? The 400 OMK is a plan that's somewhat similar to Brazil's PGBL, where you can invest money for retirement. The advantage is that, as part of this plan, you don't pay income tax on it, right? However, there are several regulations governing how you invest for retirement. Typically, these are more conservative investments. And Trump is now authorizing. He's not requiring anyone to use or buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. He's authorizing people to include cryptocurrencies in the investment options for these private pension plans, such as 400 OMK or PGBL. In Brazil, it's roughly equivalent, though not exactly the same. Let's examine this case, as it's reportedly what caused Bitcoin's recent surge. Bitcoin rose significantly over the past few days, hitting a new high again, reportedly due to Trump's law. Let's assess whether this is a positive development. I'll also take this opportunity to discuss CoinEx. You know, I'm a CoinEx ambassador, so if you sign up for CoinEx using my referral code, which is in the link in the description, it helps me, and I'll also discuss how you can use CoinEx to create a retirement plan. This news was suggested by Elon Musk, I am Satoshi Nakamoto, and several others. Thanks to those who suggested news on our site, Visa Libertarian, and thanks to you for watching our video. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe to our channel. So, Trump recently issued an order that opens up the possibility of including other investment types in your 400 OMK. What is a 400 OMK? It's a retirement mechanism in the United States done the right way. Throughout your working life, you set aside a portion of your income each month into a retirement fund. The savings in this fund will be used for your retirement later on. We all grow old eventually, don't we? We won't be able to work, make 25 videos a day, so I'll need retirement savings. This applies to everyone, and that's how it works. So a proper retirement plan is different from the pyramid scheme known as incest here in Brazil, where current workers pay for the retirees. As society has fewer young people and more elderly, it breaks down. It's like any Ponzi or pyramid scheme. The retirement system in Brazil is failing. This foolish idea, by the way, was conceived by the fat suicidal man, Getulio Vargas, the man whose policies significantly delayed the country's progress. Anyway, the retirement system in Brazil doesn't work. Fortunately, since the time of Fernando Henrique Cardoso, we've had the option to create retirement funds such as PGBL or VGBL. The 400 OMK is similar to Brazil's PGBL, which is a fund where you invest monthly and it will provide you with a retirement income, a regular income stream during retirement. And what's the main advantage? You can do it on your own, take your money, and put it in a savings account. But what's the advantage of setting up these retirement funds? The first thing is that the government gives you an advantage, which is income tax exemption. You don't pay income tax on the money you're saving. It's a way for the government to encourage people to save. Because everyone thinks they'll live forever, that they'll never have health problems and so on. But one day you have health problems. One day you have problems, so the government thinks it's a good idea to encourage you to do this by not charging taxes. What a nice incentive. The government won't take a cut from that money if you save it for this. In practice, it ends up being a real incentive. And how does the 400 OMK work in the United States? Typically, the employer opens this account for their employees and also contributes to it. It's like a work benefit that the employer can choose to offer or not. It's not mandatory. This is the case in the United States. Labor laws there are very flexible. Nothing is mandatory. Generally, employers want to offer this benefit because it attracts talent. These funds are managed by companies to generate returns for you, as investing isn't straightforward. Investing requires knowledge and expertise. Various professional organizations and industry employees create these collective funds. You contribute monthly and retire with this money at a certain age. That's what proper retirement planning looks like there. There are restrictions on this fund because investment decisions aren't made solely by you. It's your company's or industry's retirement fund that decides how to invest. A significant portion of these funds are managed by BlackRock, which is why it's so large. They manage pension funds for various companies, overseeing the money and making investments accordingly, in accordance with the company's contract guidelines and the like. So the idea is that the better this money is invested, the better for you because you'll receive more money in the future, right? If your money generates significant returns, when you retire, you'll have a higher pension. If it doesn't generate that much, it'll be the minimum stated in the contract. There are these parameters, right? And yes, if it fails, if you lose money, you'll lose. The investment always carries risk. That's why this type of fund requires secure investments. They don't accept high-risk investments, such as derivatives. Options are considered riskier investments, similar to gambling. You can't invest in that because it risks losing everything. So what did Trump do? He allowed the possibility of including part of the money in bitcoins in the 400 ANCAP. And this has a double advantage because, in my long-term view, Bitcoin is bound to rise. It's going to continue to increase in value, and it's going to happen at some point, although I'm not sure when. But at some point, hyperbitcoinization will occur, which is the moment when people will stop using fiat currency issued by governments, such as dollars and reais, and will start pricing things in Bitcoin, right? Because it will become so common that it won't make sense to price things in reais or dollars. So Trump has now approved the possibility of these funds, including cryptocurrencies. It wasn't just cryptocurrencies, mind you. It also allows the use of shares of companies not listed on the stock exchange and other assets that were previously considered too risky to be included in this type of fund. For example, it's now possible to hold shares of companies like OpenAI, the owner of ChatGPT or SpaceX, and so on, which are companies that don't have publicly traded shares, but you can still invest in them. They are not listed on the stock exchange, but you can buy shares in these companies. Right? So this is a positive development, especially for Bitcoin. It's not surprising that Bitcoin's value rose, reaching an all-time high at the beginning of the year, then experiencing a small drop, and now rising again. It's currently in the range of $120,000 per Bitcoin, close to its all-time high, by the way. Today, it reached $120,000 on July 18th, just a few days ago. So it's very close to Bitcoin's all-time high. So with this, you can allocate part of your reserves to Bitcoin. If hyperbitcoinization occurs, you'll be prepared for that too. If not, you still have the rest. Bitcoin will normally continue to appreciate in value anyway, so you have a very positive outlook for any future scenario. So this is Trump's idea to allow it. I think it's positive. Some people are criticizing it, saying it's riskier. It can generate higher fees and more risk. Not everyone is satisfied with this. There are other concerns. To buy Bitcoin, it's now a possibility they have. They can include it among their assets. As an investment, I think it would be reasonable to have this type of asset in your portfolio for long-term investments. And if you want to try Bitcoin, want to know how to buy it, I recommend CoinEx. CoinEx is a Hong Kong-based brokerage firm, so it's not located in Brazil and isn't required to report to the Internal Revenue Service about any transactions you make. This doesn't mean you can engage in illicit activities on CoinEx. If you participate in money laundering or similar illegal activities, you will be identified and held accountable. However, for those who want to avoid having the IRS scrutinize every purchase and fear political persecution or other issues related to the IRS, having a brokerage outside Brazil can be a viable alternative. Additionally, you know that the Lula government is not favorable towards cryptocurrencies or the economy in general. So one cannot rule out the possibility of introducing a tax on cryptocurrencies. There was even consideration during the IOF tax discussions about implementing a tax on cryptocurrencies. So if you hold cryptocurrencies in Brazil, you're taking a risk. Consider the risks associated with Lula and Haddad. Being in Brazil poses risks for cryptocurrency holders. CoinEx facilitates this. Your money in Bitcoin are held abroad, and you can make transactions and withdraw to your personal wallet. I always recommend not leaving money on the exchange. Instead, keep it in a personal wallet. I'll leave the link in the video description, along with my referral link to register on CoinEx. I'll provide 2 videos. One showing how to use it to buy Bitcoin. Buying crypto is straightforward. You can choose peer-to-peer trading, third-party transactions, or the quick buy option, which allows purchasing with PIX directly. The process uses the same mechanism as third-party transactions, but here it involves third parties. With this method, you're transacting directly with CoinEx itself, and it works very well. I'll provide videos explaining how to do this and a video on how to implement DCA. DCA involves buying off-peak to avoid the pitfalls of buying high and selling low. This ensures you buy at the monthly average. I'll share a useful tip in the DCA video, which will also be in the video description. Don't forget to sign up on CoinEx. As I always say, at least give it a try and buy something to see how it works. To understand how the Bitcoin world works, and so on, who knows, maybe someday we'll be able to, here on PGBL, here in Brazil. We'll be able to have Bitcoin here too. I recommend that you have some Bitcoin in your portfolio. Thanks for watching until the end. Besides liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, consider becoming a sponsor with amounts starting from $1.99. Click the Become a Member button below to learn about the conditions and benefits of sponsoring the channel. For more information about our project, visit our websites listed on the screen.